New York themed.
I didn't even catch that.
Trying to give you a.
That's fucking great, man. Oh my god, I feel like I'm downtown.
Yeah, this is like.
Wow, man.
Can you even tell you're in St. Louis?
No. What? Oh my god, I'm at the World Trade Center. This is cool, man.
Welcome to Back of the Room. My guest today is a very funny stand-up comedian. He's appeared on Adam Devine's House Party, Comedy Central Presents, and The Late Show. Make sure to check out his album Dream Occupation and his podcast called Talktown. It's Anthony DeVito.
Thank you, Jimmy.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not that much, dude. Jimmy, the cameras cannot pick up, but Jimmy has made me feel at home here. He has a dumb New York screensaver that he's playing on in the background.
I'm rocking the I Heart New York shirt.
A shirt that he bought at an airport. So, yeah, I feel like I'm back in Queens.
Well,
Thank you, Jimmy.
that's what I was shooting for, man. I just wanted you to be comfortable. You know, I bought this shirt. I was there a couple years ago for the first time.
Yeah,
you texted
me. I remember.
Yeah, I couldn't find a... I had mixed feelings about New York shirt.
Yeah.
But this one, does the trick.
Right.
No, it was great, though. I had never been. It was pretty cool.
What'd you like about it?
I mean, there's a lot of things to like. There's some things that you might not care for as well.
Jerry, Jesus Christ, man.
You know?
What'd you like about it? I'm sure there's a bunch of shit you could like.
There's
a bunch of stuff I hated.
Well, the food.
Yeah.
The comedy.
Okay.
The
Did anything take you by surprise that you weren't expecting being there?
I saw this couple sitting on a stoop, most likely on heroin.
Okay.
And the gal kind of face planted onto the pavement.
Sure.
And
I think you could upgrade the most likely to definitely, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, she wiped out hard. And the boyfriend and the 50 people in, 5-foot radius didn't help her out at all.
Sure, yeah.
That
is
like,
the thing.
Yeah, that's going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, if that happens in St. Louis, everyone reacts to that.
We might try to be like, oh, is she okay?
Right.
I give her one of those.
At least a tap on the back.
Yeah.
You'll get him.
Is she dead?
Yeah, at least a poke.
But,
Yeah, no, everyone in New York kind of just, lives with that.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes, you walk around, it looks like it's almost like a Civil War battlefield, you know what I mean? Where there's just bodies strewn about that you just kind of walk past on your way to getting a salad or whatever.
Yeah, I had more of a Black Hawk Down kind of vibe in some of the areas we were in, but, it was cool, man.
Stay?
We stayed in Manhattan.
Okay.
And kind of checked out all the clubs, but we... I'd never been, so just getting your bearings was kind of tough.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday. It's one of those places where it's not like almost every other city. I'm there's a couple, but the density, just the navigation of it all.
Yeah.
So, going there, it's you kind of it's you're like a baby again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're starting. Unless you're coming from Tokyo. You know what I mean? I don't know how New York isn't a little bit of a punch in the face just in terms of just maneuvering.
Yeah, I mean, I told you I lived around here now, but I grew up in a town of 160 people.
Crazy.
So.
God.
Yeah.
160, man. Does everyone have a job? Do you know what I mean?
They mostly commute to their jobs, or
sense.
they
Yeah.
are farmers, or
So what was your graduating class?
It was pretty small. There was 3 small towns that came together for the school.
Oh, sure.
So the town that the high school was in was 1,500.
Okay.
And then there was another town that was 1,000-ish.
Oh, wow.
But I think I graduated with 50, 60-ish, maybe, in that ballpark.
Oh, all right.
So it was, it was all right, but very small. Foley, man. Shout out to Foley. But, yeah. New York was wild, man. I got a kind of New York-based theme for you on this one.
Okay.
I know you're from Jersey, right?
I am.
Okay,
yeah.
but you've been in New York for a long time?
Yeah, about 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
What's the cutoff? I mean, do you consider yourself a New Yorker at 10 or 15 years, or is that how it works?
I don't know. I mean, people always kind of have, they liken it to years or a moment, you know what I mean? I don't know, you inhale a pigeon or something like that, and they're like, I guess I'm a New Yorker now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think New Jersey has such a strong pride in itself, being so close to New York, that it wants to be recognized as its own thing. So I think it's ingrained in me. I'll never be a New Yorker as much as I am from New Jersey.
Yeah.
But, like, yes, I have lived in Queens for, like, 15, 16 years or whatever.
That makes sense. You could have Jersey pride. You're right there.
Yeah.
So who are your teams? Like, are you a sports guy? Who do you root for?
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up, like, I'm a big basketball guy.
Okay.
But when I grew up, the Nets stunk. So
Yeah.
they didn't, when I was in college, they got Jason Kidd and kind of went on those runs and were a good team. But like it was hard as a kid, like to get excited for Armin Gilliam. You know what I mean? Like
they were bad for a long time.
Yeah. So I was just more of a basketball fan. I tried being a Charlotte Hornets fan.
Okay.
Just because, like, when I grew up, when I was coming to it was like Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, they had Zoe, they had the great jerseys, they had the starter jacket, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But like at the time, you couldn't get, you know, ESPN. You were just getting local coverage of games, so it was like impossible to be. We didn't get Charlotte television.
Yeah.
So that was hard. So I just am a broad basketball fan, a Knicks fan now, but
Okay.
growing up I wasn't, just because like. Everybody who grew up in the 90s played basketball. Michael Jordan was your hero. The
Yeah.
Knicks were actively trying to hurt him. So, yeah. And then football, my grandma was a huge Jets fan, so I went Giants for fun. And then my wife is from Buffalo. And, like, as the years have gone on, I'm a complete Bills fan.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry then. But, yeah.
Devastating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I took the Bulls, too, because we don't have a team here.
Mhm.
So I was like, Jordan's the shit. I root for them. I still do. Like the Bulls haven't been good in forever, but I still
Yeah.
root for them.
They're in a weird
But
spot.
yeah. Well, cool, man. Like I said, heavy New York episode here. I got a lot of stuff. I'm gonna throw past you. I'm gonna just give some tips from a guy that's only there a week.
Fun.
Let me know if these are good tips.
Oh, this is great.
You know, being there for 15 years. Get a subway card for the entire time you're there.
Yes.
Okay,
Great tip.
that was a good
That's
one.
a great Jimmy tip, everybody.
Don't look anyone in the eyes.
I think you use some discretion with that.
Yeah, I mean, from my
for the
experience,
most part, I would say 80-20.
Okay,
I would say, yeah, man, use your brain in terms of like,
Yeah.
if this is a person you think you should be looking, if it's a person eating a raw fish on the train, don't look them in the eye. But like, yeah, you could be a person.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get a look back, but I do think it is good to, like, you know, every now and again.
Yeah.
Because if you might grow across somebody who's like, New York, man, everyone's having like the worst day of their life, probably.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like that little bit of eye contact maybe helps keep them, stops them from killing themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, but like, yeah, 80-20, I would say.
But the 20%, from my experience
Maybe
at least,
90-10.
maybe 2 seconds max.
Oh, no.
Because I
that's-
gave a couple people like a 3, and they were like, "What the fuck are you
Three's
looking
nuts,
at?"
man. Yeah, three.
I fucked
Three,
up.
you're gonna get your head bashed in.
Yeah, I fucked up.
I would even say 2 might be a little bit long. I think it's a pretty quick glance.
kind of a glance up and
Kind
down.
of an
yeah.
acknowledgement. Just like, you're
Yeah.
not looking for more than that. Because too much, they're like, oh, he's gonna hit me up for money, or he's gonna rob me. Nothing good is gonna come out of more than 2 seconds of eye contact.
Yeah.
But you know, a little acknowledgement's not bad.
Okay, that's good to know. If possible, be young and hot.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. If you find yourself ugly and old, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Just not Manhattan. I would go to Queens.
Okay.
In Queens, everybody looks like me, but worse. So imagine that. It'd be
Yeah,
fun.
and it's just my experience. You know, I was like
For sure.
middle-aged and average at best. So I was like, it'd probably be better to be young and hot. You don't want to walk near the edge of the subway platform, or you will get pushed onto the tracks.
It's not a given.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but-
it's a great way to avoid it for sure.
They got the yellow part there. I was like, I'm not even getting close to the yellow.
Sure.
So that was just
Yeah, I think that's a fine Jimmy tip.
yeah.
I would say most likely you're not going to get pushed on the tracks. It
I've
does happen.
Seen the news.
It
I
does
don't know.
happen. It's very, very. You got to also understand when you hear a news story come out of New York, how populate, like the percentages are so much
There's so
smaller
many people,
because
yeah.
there's so many people you're working with. So
Yeah.
it's like when you hear something like that, the chances are so slim And of course, because you have everybody living on top of each other and everyone's paying way too much money to live there. So you have a bunch of disgruntled people who are all on top of each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, things are going to happen like that. But like, yeah, man, don't walk along the subway. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, these are just some I don't know. But on the, everyone living on top of each other.
Yes.
Like I told you, it's 160 people, middle of nowhere, but like it was actually pretty sweet. Like, cause my parents had 32 acres.
Oh, whoa.
So it was like pretty cool. Yeah.
That's a lot of acres.
It's a lot of
You
acres.
never know when people say acres really how much it is, but 32 sounds like a lot.
It's not bad.
How much is, what's a football field in acres? Is it an acre?
More than that. I'd say, I don't know in football fields,
Sure.
but I'd say.
What about this room? What are we talking acres here?
Oh, shit, man. This
Is it a quarter acre?
No.
There's not even. All
This
right.
is 25 square feet.
So it doesn't even get to acre.
No.
When do you get to acre?
I'm looking it up. You want to know square footage?
you don't have to, but
No,
like,
I'm curious
I didn't know if
too.
you knew, just
How many
because you
square-
said 160 acres so confidently that I was like, man, Jimmy's an acre man. I love when I meet an acre man because they're able to just dissect rooms like that.
My favorite movie.
Oh yeah.
How many square feet are in an acre? Holy shit. 43,560 square
Jesus.
feet in 1 acre.
So 32 acres is a lot, man.
It's pretty good.
You had animals?
Am I into them?
No. No. Did you have animals on the acre?
Wild ones, and then we had some
Okay.
dogs and stuff. But yeah, there's all kinds of shit running around.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
you're flying
going
your
from
acres-
32
flying your
acres,
acres around town, Jimmy. Jesus.
going from 32 acres to,
For sure.
a hotel room in New York. I was claustrophobic.
Yeah, yes.
But, whatever. Moving on to the more tips. Bring some ones with you. You never know when you want to tip somebody a little
Great
bit.
call. Great call.
Yeah.
And it's a great life thing in general.
Yeah.
If you see somebody go, hey, man, that's a good coat. I'm a little bit happier. I got a bunch of dollars.
Yeah.
Why should just singles be reserved for strip clubs? I don't think this is a horrible idea, Jimmy.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think you leave your house, and I think, look, everyone's financial situation is different, but I think your goal, you leave the house with 10 singles, and your goal is to have none of them by the end of the day.
That's pretty good.
And then you got 10 moments that you find happiness from people, a tree, whatever. You see a tree you like, you staple a single onto that tree. I think you do that.
Bringing it back to its roots. It's like it is.
Exactly.
It used to be a
Give
tree,
it a
and
little
now
back.
it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's not
The
bad.
more people do it, all of a sudden, people go, money doesn't grow on trees. You go, I beg to differ. Look at that oak.
Yeah.
That's $75,000
pretty good.
on that thing.
I don't mind doing the thing where you fold one up in your hand and you give somebody like a little
Love
gangster
that.
shake.
Love a grease.
Yeah.
People should be greasing. This world would be a better place if we were greasing a little bit more. I always think it's a fun move to do on stage. If you're a host or whoever, that moment where you're like shaking hands before you go up, you give them $5.
Yeah.
That's a cool move.
That's pretty good. Grease more, people.
Yeah.
Grease them up. Try to figure out which way is north, south, east, and west. It's a grid system, but you
Yeah.
get turned around.
You get turned around. Like, here's the thing. I've never known whenever north, south, east, and west is, and I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I think it's bullshit. I don't think you got to do that at all. I think this is a bunk Jimmy tip.
Okay.
I get there's going to be these people out there that, do this, stuff, but you don't have to. Cut it
Okay.
out of your life. Let a new thing in.
I'm no expert, man. I'm just saying.
No,
These
for
are,
sure. It's all numbers.
yeah.
You get turned around, go the other way.
Yeah.
Look at the number. I'm furious at you, Jimmy.
Yeah. Like I said, I've only been there once, so you would know better than me. But I also had an idea of like if like I'm saying, very New York heavy episode. We got
There
Lady
she
Liberty
is,
here.
Lady Liberty in all her glory. How are you, beautiful?
But if I was mayor of New York, so I'm shifting gears here hard.
Let's not rule anything out, Jimmy.
Do I got a
Just
shot?
yet. I actually think you might.
Okay.
This is the interesting thing about the New York in the mayoral race, which is it's always a great time. By the way,
Doesn't seem like they ever like who's in
they
office.
always hate the mayor. It's
yeah.
a part. It's a tradition.
Yeah.
Whoever becomes mayor, hate their guts.
Yeah.
Adams, he's doing great. People hate him.
Yeah.
People hated De Blasio before that. They always can't stand the mayor. Bloomberg, it's kind of interesting. Bloomberg was like, sometimes, like when you tell a joke, but if you just keep going long enough, the joke goes from bad to good.
Uh-huh.
That's what happened with Bloomberg.
Okay.
He wouldn't abdicate the mayoral seat. So at some point, I think they went, we like this guy.
Yeah.
He's just going to stay mayor forever, I guess.
That's not bad.
He's all right. But,
So, I'm not saying this is going to get me elected either. But
okay. Oh, right.
these are just some ideas I've had there,
I love
being
it.
there for a week out of my life.
Sure.
I would probably start an incentive program for rats.
Okay.
So homeless people who kill rats and bring their bodies in as proof get $4 per rat.
4 per rat. Where did they bring them? And then
To some government body or some dude that's like, yeah, that's a dead rat.
well, yeah, Adams wanted to do the rat czar. That was a real thing he proposed. He like kind of ran on that. His big thing, he was like, I'm going to get rid of all the rats in New York City.
This guy's
And then
stealing
he
my ideas.
Appointed a rat czar. But the current mayor wasn't as thoughtful about you are with your idea.
Well, I'm getting homeless people a job too.
He didn't have that component.
Yeah, because he was just like, I'll get rid of them.
Totally.
And everybody's like, no, you fucking won't. There's
Yes.
a jillion of them.
Yes.
So at least, I'm giving the homeless guys a job, and then
Now, is it 4? It's always 4. What if are you doing a couple questions?
okay.
Are you doing bundle deals?
Oh yeah, I mean, if say you get, you have a good day, you
Yeah.
get 50, you get a bonus.
Okay. And are you doing it by size at all? Because here's the thing: the rats differ greatly in size.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing in a rat and that's a $4 rat, but then somebody else is bringing in like a rat the size of a bass, he's also getting $4. Doesn't seem fair to me, Jimmy.
I could vary it a little. I mean, if you get it like I don't know how long rats live, but like a huge
100
dog-sized rat, I'll bump it up.
How
4 minimum on a small one.
4 minimum. I like 4 minimum.
Maybe we'll get a scale involved. We'll weigh them.
I like this.
Bump it up
I like this a lot.
per weight.
Yes.
Okay. That's just my first point.
Great.
No more paying for open mics.
Wow.
These comics are poor.
Really shrunk in size, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, this
You
is
were
more
solving
just,
the rat problem, and then your second thing was, I'd like to not pay at open mics.
This is more of a me thing. But these comics are poor and about to kill themselves, and they don't need to pay $5 to go up
Agree
at
with
4
you.
p.m. in front of 4 other comics, I
Yeah.
don't think.
It's a shit system.
Yeah.
The paying sucks, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't keep it's not enough. It's not large enough where it keeps whatever out. Because I used to do this one mic. It would be a $5 club mic, and I remember one time. It was just me and just a guy who wandered in off the street who I don't know, he maybe got a couple rats himself.
Yeah.
So he pulled some money together. And at one point, it was the end of the mic. It was just me and him. I went up 20th. So I'm the audience. Now he's the audience. And he did a bit where I was to this day, I'm it's one of the funniest bits I've ever heard. He didn't know it was hilarious, but he's on stage and he's just going off about how NASA isn't real and the problems he has with it. And this is because you do shorter jokes, I do short jokes. So I'm always impressed when someone can just tell one joke or story that kind of consumes the whole time. He's going on for 4 minutes and going NASA this and that and space travel. You don't know this about the government, this, and it's intense. And he's performing for one, but he's in it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, he goes, so that's why I didn't like the movie Armageddon. And I was oh my, I almost stood up and clapped. I was that was art. I don't know what, that was incredible, man.
Yeah, you should just gave him a 20, been here's your next 4 mics.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's great, man. But
Yeah, the paying mic sucks. Yeah,
the
'cause
first one,
they're all free here, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got into town early and went to a 4 p.m. one in a basement, and it wasn't open, and this dude showed up, and he was like 3 other dudes went down, and he was like, all right, it's $5. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I just, a couple of guys went, and then I went like 3rd out of 4th. One guy was loving my shit, but that was one out of 4 audience members. But
it sucks because, like, especially in New York mics, I mean, it might be different now, but like everyone's done so much to get there, like in terms of like moving their life.
Yeah.
So they're so nervous. So like lots of times it was harder to get a read on jokes because everyone's just in their own head or in their notebooks. And,
Yeah.
like, not a lot of people, especially earlier on there, are comfortable enough to laugh. Also, too, they're like nervous if they laugh what other people are going to think. Because it's like here you're all like the ceiling of what you can do here. But like New York, they're like, I don't know who that guy, like what he can get. Like, so everyone's like just in their heads more than they have to be.
Yeah.
So
and it makes
sucks.
sense, too. In the bigger cities, it's like a paying audience is going to go to a showcase or a weekend show instead of going to the open mic because
Yeah, of
there's
course.
so many more clubs and so many more comics doing it. But it's tough. But I'll move on. I'm trying to be the mayor here. So, how about the State of the Fucking Right program?
What's this?
This is where you're on a sidewalk
Oh,
and
sure.
it's like a highway. You stay
Yes.
to the right. You don't cut over. You got to keep it moving.
Yes, there's like a social contract with lanes in New York, where it's like, yeah, they're right.
It should be, but there's some people not following
you're
the
saying-
code. I'm
you're
saying like
people aren't following the code.
it should be more strict in New
Well,
York.
I mean, it depends where you are. Like Times Square, you're gonna get that because it's a lot of tourists. Like I think New York sometimes gets a bad rap because like a decent size of the population, depending anywhere in Manhattan, really, you're dealing with a lot of tourists. So it's like. So you have them in the mix with New Yorkers, and like they don't know how to operate within the cities. So it's like, yeah, you are gonna get that. You're saying you want like actual lines of demarcation for like lanes.
Yeah, kind of.
And you just what lanes are we talking? You just want a fast lane and a slow lane? I think you got to account for other
Well,
lanes.
more just like if you're coming this way, you go right. If you're going this way, you go right.
Oh, right,
So
like
it's just
like a restaurant, like
or
a doors at a
highway.
restaurant,
Yeah,
or like a highway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
Yeah,
you guys don't drive up there, but like that's how
don't
we
mind.
drive on the right
I
side
don't
of the.
mind it, man. I'm trying to think of like what issues you might run into. I think you're all right. What are yeah? I guess then you're just going the speed of traffic.
Yeah.
That's how you're kind of gauging it.
It's not gonna go over with everyone, but it's just an idea.
Sure, I like it.
2 more and then I'm done.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a lot of good police officers and civil servants in New York, but I ran across a few that were a little laissez-faire.
Okay, what did you see?
I saw this dude that was on acid and or meth
Sure.
and hugging.
You didn't ask? Rude.
Yeah, he was screaming and crying, I think.
Sure.
And he was hugging like this pillar in the subway. And I was like, well, any second he's just going to run on to the tracks.
Yeah.
And then there was just 2 police officers like 30 feet away.
They get so they may and you're not wrong. I do think sometimes they can be, like a little blasé and a little like ineffective, but also you get to know, you become wise to, you know what I mean? He's just like, that guy's hugging a pillar.
He's
He's
like,
not
it's fucking Steve.
Exactly.
He's like,
Yeah.
he does this. That's his
yeah.
thing.
They're like, we see him every
They're
Thursday
seeing it,
night.
yeah, they're
It's
seeing it
not,
so
we
much.
Know we know this. It's like a play.
Yeah.
They're just like, it's boring to us at this point. We know exactly what happens
Yeah.
next. So like, no, we're not going over there.
Yeah.
Why would I waste energy?
Yeah, I mean, I was just worried for the guy because he was
For
like,
sure, of course.
but
As you should be. Here's the thing. I'm not saying we're right. I'm just saying
I
this
know.
is how it's
there's,
operating.
There's so many people. It's just like business as
can't.
usual.
It's like Superman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like you can't save everybody, but you are hearing their voices.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an idea. Last one. I don't know number-wise, but a shitload of power washing companies that work around the clock.
This is great.
Just
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
power
it's
washing
great.
every surface.
I think it's great.
Getting that layer of grime off of there.
I think it's you could be putting homeless people to work this way as well.
That's true.
I think it's great, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure,
So-
they're gonna drink some of the paint, but it's part of it. You know that's happening.
Yeah.
You know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
He worked their way up a little bit, you know. They kill it at the rat thing. They move on to the power washing crew. And then who knows where they go from there.
Mayor.
Mayor or open mics.
That's true.
You know.
That's probably more likely.
Yeah, but, you know, these are just some ideas.
Good ideas,
But
Jimmy.
this is mostly the New York portion, but we'll take a quick break.
Okay.
Be right back with more Anthony DeVito, everybody. And we're back, sitting here with Anthony DeVito, talking New York, we're talking comedy, drinking some drinks.
So are you sponsored?
No, I don't think so, but we can shock top.
Throw it out there, man, and then they'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And high noon, either one of you guys.
What time is it? I believe it's high noon.
Oh, that was pretty good. I'll clip that.
Go ahead, man.
All right, so I might be mayor, I might not, but
You're in the race.
I'm in the running.
For sure. You're not out.
Yeah. But it was a good time, man. We went to the Cellar. We saw Dave Attell at a
That's
late
cool.
show.
That's awesome.
Went to Book of Mormon.
Oh, cool.
It's
I've never
great.
been. Was it great?
It was awesome.
Yeah, my wife
Big
loved
South
it.
Park guy, so
yeah.
it was awesome. Went to the Guggenheim.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Some of it was good. You know,
for sure.
I-
Cool building though, right?
very cool building.
And that area, Museum Row or
Yeah.
whatever it's called, like that's awesome.
yeah,
I love that spot.
I like art, but anytime I see something and I'm like, well, I could have fucking done that.
Yeah.
I don't
I know,
take
it
it
takes you
that
out
serious.
of it a little bit. I get it.
I'm like, whatever.
God, Jimmy,
know,
a man of such talent.
I mean, look at this green room. No.
this
again.
this should be in the fucking Guggenheim.
This is about the size of their exhibits. I think I could recreate it if they're interested. Do a live podcast with you if you want. We'll workshop it. One more New York segment, and then we'll
Okay.
move on.
Cool.
It's called That's My Favorite,
Okay.
New York edition. Favorite pizza.
Joe's.
That's where we went.
Yeah, Joe's or Spumoni, I would say.
Great.
Yeah.
It
do
was
you like
awesome.
it? Yeah.
Oh,
Joe's
yeah.
great.
Best pizza I ever had.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect, but it was great. We tried a few places. We went to the Louis intro place, kind of
Ben's.
by all, by the clubs.
Yeah.
That was good. But then we
Yeah. No,
went there.
Joe's is like a real. Ben's is your your standard New York slice. Like pretty much a rarity for you to get a slice of pizza in New York that's not just good.
Yeah.
You know, like the bar.
Even the dollar ones, like pretty solid.
The bar is like an 8, and then they have a bunch of like 9s and then a few 10s. So
Yeah.
that's why it's like that part of New York is incredible.
Yeah, it was cool. We were sitting like right by the like stove thing. And I was like, holy fuck.
It's
Like, because isn't it like that isn't really allowed anymore because it was like coal fired
know.
or something? I thought somebody said something like that. Like if you built a new place, you couldn't do it like that, and that one's just been there forever or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
But yeah, that was my pick too. So, favorite sandwich?
Okay. So where I live in Astoria in Queens, it doesn't exist anymore. But there's a place called A&F's. So there was there was like a deli rivalry, sandwich rivalry where I live between A&F and Sal, Chris, and Charlie's. Sal, Chris, and Charlie's got the more notoriety, but A&F I thought was always better.
The competition keeps it pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, it's like
Yeah.
the free market,
Yeah.
but with turkey.
That sounds great. When I was in college, there was these two gas stations on right across from each other, and they kept dropping the price of 30
Yeah.
packs of Natty Light.
Sure.
And then they got down to one was a penny more than they were paying just out of spite.
I love it.
And it was like
It's
$10.99
great.
for a 30 pack. So you could buy a shitload of those for way less than what a keg would be
Yeah.
and just have a great party.
So what was your favorite sandwich?
I didn't go to a ton, but we went
Okay.
to Katz's.
Oh yeah, well,
And it was
Cats
great.
is sure, man. Yeah, Cats.
Yeah.
I have Cats like probably like once a year or something. And,
Yeah.
like, it's enough time to forget and then remember how good it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cats is unbelievable.
It was great. I mean, a shitload of meat.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mind the ratio, but like nobody has that kind of ratio
No.
of meat to
It's
bread.
stupid. It's sarcastic.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like aggressive, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you think you can eat this? Fuck you. This is how, like, it is kind of mean in a weird way. No, cats, the whole thing with cats, even the ticketing system, it's very New York in the sense that it's completely inconvenient. So it like really captures New York in a lot of ways.
It was cool to just be like, because we didn't know what we were doing. There was like, get in this line, and then you order from this guy, and he's chopping the shit.
And everyone kind of seems angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, you don't want
That's
to
a
look
great
those
one.
guys in the eyes too long either, because they got a knife.
they're a 2 second at most. They'll kick you out.
Pastrami. Yeah, it's just. This is a tough one, probably. Favorite comedy club?
Yeah. I mean, the Cellar, I would say.
Yeah.
It's still like there's magic in that room that's like, and a lot of other really great ones, but like there's still something about that room that you can't quite put your finger on as a comedian that makes it so special.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only seen it on TV and stuff, and it was awesome to see it, but it's so small.
Super small.
And like you go down into the thing, and I went with a buddy, and he's a bigger dude. I'm like 6'2", and he's just a bigger guy. And they jammed us in this booth where we were sitting, like he was here with his legs going this way. And they were like getting there. And then they put like 6 other people around us. And I was like, I can't fucking sit like this for 2 hours. And I was like, hey, miss, like, what the fuck? And she's like, we do this all the time. And I was just like, well, this sucks. So like we made it through, but it was like too.
I would say as part of being in New York is that sort of motto of like, yeah, of course this sucks, but we're all just this is part of it.
It's also a luck thing, because like they put us right on the corner, and if we would have been in the chairs like right across, we would have been fine.
Right.
But it was just it was great. Attell's the man.
Oh yeah.
I went to Cancun with him one time. It was great.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's totally real
I
picture.
didn't realize you guys were so close.
This one we already touched on, but favorite type of homeless person?
I'd like to go by race. I don't know that I have a favorite.
Yeah, that's a weird question, I guess. least favorite, possibly.
I love it. You're like, now that I've seen it land on someone's face, I
Yeah.
guess that's a kind of a weird one.
I
Yeah,
guess
for
that
sure.
one wasn't great. We'll move on. Favorite New York expression?
Oh man. I mean, I don't know why I'm cycling through a couple.
You got the classics of like, I'm walking here.
Yeah, you never hear that though.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's just
like,
a thing that's
no
on
one's
TV.
doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I don't know that I know like a ubiquitous like New York expression. It would have to do something with the subways or something with like, I mean, I honestly just like to see people lose it in public, because like I think everyone has such sympathy for it because they've all been that person. So to be on the other side of it, there's like a catharsis to it, to see you in the face of somebody else who's had that exact moment.
Yeah. And have you ever had to like step into a situation?
Yeah.
I know that's not like nobody wants to do that,
No,
but like
I've had to break up a couple fights.
Okay.
Like I think the most recent one was there was 2 crackheads. I should have not got myself into the situation. I was just like, the one guy had no legs, so I was like, well, I gotta get and then like they were just like, I tried to get him off the other guy, but he was like, man, crackheads like they're like all cartilage, like they're like sharks. So like I was, and then eventually another guy who was like part of their crew kind of came in. He was like, man, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, noted. And I just kind of took off. But no, I've broken up. I'd say probably once every couple of years I'll break up a fight.
Okay.
Whether it be on the subway. It's just kind of part of it.
yeah.
And like you kind of gauge and you're like, I think I could, because sometimes, I think it's when you see one that's unfair, just stature-wise, that's when you're like, I guess I got to get involved. If they're even, don't get involved.
Yeah.
Just don't, unless it gets really hairy and it looks like, oh my God, like mortality's on the line. But like, otherwise, don't get involved. But if it's like, obviously, if it's a guy fighting a girl, take the guy's side, obviously. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's great you're doing that. It didn't seem like most people do that, but it does. You got to pick your battles, I guess.
You got to pick your battles. Be
Yeah.
smart about it, but like you're probably going to have to get involved once or twice.
Gotcha. My favorite New York expression is just "Hey, fuck you."
Heard
Heard that one a lot.
Yeah. I guess I've just heard it so much. I don't even realize it's a New York expression. Now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean it's not. I guess
It's like static
You
to me.
get it around here too, but I heard it a lot there. Let's shift gears here, getting into some comedy questions.
Sure.
Where did you start doing comedy originally? New York.
Yeah, no, I started at those like horrible open mics in New York. But I mean, it was fun. It was good in it was good in the sense of like I never really had much of an ego, just because like I wasn't coming from somewhere where I was getting like stage time in front of people and making money and then starting over in New York. Like I came up from nothing. So like I think when I did my first show, like 8 months or a year in, I was like, oh, like some of these jokes work. Like I didn't even know,
Yeah.
So like it was good in that sense, and like and yeah, but it's tough. It's hard on your self-esteem, but like it was good in terms of like not making me get a big head.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many clubs and so many places you can go, but it's weird from my perspective, I guess, just coming from here because, some of the open mics, you'll have 50, 60 people sometimes, and it's like that kind of feedback of like a big crowd versus a small club with, a few comics that are trying not to laugh at your shit.
Yeah.
It would be harder to gauge what's good and what's bad almost, I would
Yeah.
think, to start.
It's harder to gauge, and you're writing, you become a good writer quickly, and you become a more honest version of yourself very quickly because like you have just other comics in the room who are like comedy nerds. So like I mean now it's a little different, but like they were just super comedy nerds who moved here from wherever to be there for this specific reason. So like they could see through all the bullshit. So they wanted originality in a premise and authenticity in a voice. So it's like it kind of taught you those things really fast, which is like a great way to stand out and become like a great comic. The problem is that like you have to learn to become a good performer or become like a decent performer, because like they also see through like the trickery of that.
Yeah.
So like they're really just listening for concepts and writing, whereas like an audience also needs a show.
Yeah. Was it, when you started, was it pay, or did that kick in like 10 years ago or something?
Yeah, I mean the clubs were all pay, and then like there were free mics scattered throughout the city, but you would do like a good balance of both. I had a day job. I was doing okay where I could afford to go up on stage for the paid mics. I kind of liked them more. Well, more or less, like the paid ones, you'd have less of your friends there. So it was like, okay, how does this work for people that don't know me at all? 'Cause
Yeah.
especially at mics, it becomes so insular where it's like you're now traveling in packs and now you're making jokes about the room. And then other people just know you're funny. So they go, we're just going to laugh because, we're going to give you the benefit. It's like having your own fans,
Yeah.
So like I would do those because it felt more neutral. And I was allowed to grow outside of like my peers' judgment. Because when I started, it was pretty judgy. But the free mics, it was all community, which was it was the best. It was just like that's my favorite. I mean, comedy has been great at all stages of it. Great, terrible parts obviously, but like that time, I would say like really like enjoy that time, because like the more you do it and successfully, hopefully like you're alone more, when you're on the road and stuff. So. You're like around your friends and you're all talking about the same shit and going from here to there. And,
Yeah.
like, some people are single and like it's fun. Like enjoy as uncertain as that time is. Like really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. And like I wasn't trying to paint with a broad brush of like nobody's gonna laugh if they're a comedian or
but
whatever. But like
they're hard.
it's
Totally, man.
It could be tougher for a small crowd or whatever.
Definitely.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
It is good though because you perform in front of a lot of small crowds in New York, given just the size of rooms.
Yeah.
So it's good because then when you start headlining on the road and doing longer sets, and late show will have 20 people, and it's like how to work 20 people more so than you even know how to work like 200 because you're just so used to that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's your writing process like? Is that changed at all, or what do you do for the most part?
I've kind of just let it change over time. Like I used to be real diligent about an hour a day in front of my computer, gather thoughts as the day goes on, write out those thoughts. Now I'm more just allowing the thoughts to come in, write them down in my notes, and then I usually pick a couple days. I try to write more with a little bit more emphasis on diversity in terms of just because I found that if I wrote stand-up 5 days a week versus 2 days a week, the output was kind of the same. So I'll usually gather thoughts, put them in the notes, and then beginning of the week I'll look at the premises, and then I'll write off those premises, and then after that I'll record that into my phone, and then later on in the day I'll listen to that recording just to hear what's actually funny or might have legs. And usually on the train to wherever spot I'm going to, I'll kind of form the bit in my head, at least in its inception, and see kind of how it flies.
Gotcha.
So that's usually what I do. And then the other days I'm writing either script, larger scale projects, something else that's tangentially related to stand-up but not exactly stand-up. And
Gotcha.
I feel it's the output's been the same, and it's maybe I'm a little bit more well-rounded as I go on with this because I'm developing other writing skills that benefit stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's more diligent, and you have steps. It's this was the first idea.
Steps.
This is a better form of it, and then you're getting ready for it to do it on stage.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
It's good because you learn how you hear how you're funny as you record and listen to you. So even if you write something on the page and you're that mathematically is funny, you're just kind of cutting out the middleman of you take that from a Google Doc to an audience. It's you're expediting the process of let me listen to it first so I can hear if it's funny, and then if I think it is, I can take it to you guys. It just gives a bit more of a chance to live. And you get better at your own voice because you're hearing how you're funny. So I would recommend listening, writing, recording almost verbatim, or letting yourself go a little bit with what you wrote, and then listen back to that because it just twofold it helps.
Yeah, that's a good idea for sure. I always ask people that, and nobody says the same thing, but it all however works for you.
Yeah,
but
course.
That's great advice for sure. Any favorite comedians, top 3, top 5?
I think Chris Rock will always be my favorite.
Okay.
I mean, that always sounds a little grand, but I just thought he was the perfect merging of performing and writing, and saying he had such a point of view, but then it was always joke first, and it was always he was just going from angle to angle. It was a writing style that I just felt came. I saw how it could come naturally to me to write that way, and I just liked his point of view. I always thought it was great. So I'd say probably Rock, Louis, and then I don't know. You said 3?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
It could be 2.
Probably Rock and Louis, I would
All
say.
right.
I listen
Yeah,
to
I mean,
most.
good top 2. I'm totally cool with that. Any advice you got early on or whenever that you kind of held on to from some other comedians?
I would say it's long. If you're gonna do this, it's long. So don't it's good to be looking forward, but don't get ahead of yourself too. Don't get ahead of yourself too much. And I would say for me, I was always I wanted to be a lot better than I was, and would get impatient with myself. But allow yourself to grow, because this whole thing is you're the thing. You know what I mean? So it's so you gotta grow off stage so you can grow on stage. So don't just do comedy. You know what I mean? Have a life and read, watch shit. Do whatever things they keep, I don't know, like influencing your mind, or the more you evolve off stage, the more you're going to evolve on stage, and like that's just going to bring you to a higher level of what this is.
Yeah, good stuff can come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. Well, I know you got another show coming up. Appreciate you letting me do a spot last night. Had a good time.
Yeah, you're great.
I appreciate it, man. But I'll let you get to it.
Cool, dude.
There's a birthday next door, it sounds like. So,
Oh, God.
you know.
Jesus. Don't ever let me see
Yeah, I
those
don't
people
know.
again.
You know, they were having a good time, but I think the next show will be more your
I
more
think-
your pace.
Yeah, I think they'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks again for doing the
got it,
podcast,
man.
man. Appreciate it. Anywhere you want to direct people to check out your stuff?
You just follow me on Instagram at comedian Anthony DeVito. And, listen to my podcast, Welcome to Talkdown. That's it.
All right, man. Thanks again for doing the pod.
Thank you.
Make sure you check out Anthony DeVito's stuff. Thanks for watching Back of the Room, everybody.